What's going on, guys? Jesse504 here, bringing you my UPA draft analysis. And first of all, UPA is our first upload Wi-Fi league for my channel, so I'm really excited, really pumped to be able to bring you guys some Wi-Fi content, draft content together. I think it's really exciting. They're in their first season, and thankfully we were allowed to join it, which was really, really nice. And this is a pretty standard tiered league. Obviously, it's with the Crown Tundra, as you can see with my first pick. All the new Crown Tundra mons are in, and then there's also GIGALITH in the league, and GIGALITH I believe is in 4 tiers, ranging from minus 40 points with your big boys like your GIGALITH Charizards, GIGALITH Grimmsnarls, all the way to like plus 60, which is your GIGALITH Pikachus and your GIGALITH Eevees, which are not very good. But it goes like pretty standard tiers: 180, 120, 100, and then 60, and then 40, which I think works out. But yeah, I'm personally more of a fan of split tiers in points. I think that works a little bit better than tiers that are trying to lump a ton of mons together. But I completely understand tiers in a especially limited dex format, although now the dex isn't even that limited. It's crazy. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get right into my team, starting off, as you guys can see, with LATIOS. I had 6th pick overall, and I think that it was a pretty good pick. I wanted the Dragapult, which was taken 1 pick in front of me, which was unfortunate, and then I also wanted to potentially take Tornadus Therian or Mew, and then both of which were taken, I believe, the picks before. So it was between LATIOS, Lando T, and Urshifu. And I think that LATIOS is just one that I've kind of wanted to use for longer. And so I just went ahead and I picked it. I think that it's a fantastic Pokemon, especially in the new DLC, where it now has access to Mystical Fire and Aura Sphere, among I think some other new moves that it got. I'm pretty sure Baton Pass is also new to it, so it has some momentum. It's great at running offensive sets, as you can see with that 130 special attack, or even that 90 physical attack with Dragon Dance. It has Calm Mind to set up special. 110 base speed is a fantastic speed tier, pretty solid top end speed. And it can take some hits pretty well with 80 HP, 80 defense, 100 SPDF, and recover. It's got access to its item, the Soul Dew, which boosts Dragon and Psychic move by 1.2 times, but it can also just run other items. It's a fantastic choice user, fantastic life orb user, great setup mon. Like I said, it does a lot, provides a ton of offensive pressure, which is really what I look for in my first pick, is a mon that can provide a ton of offensive pressure and really be a mon that can come to most, if not all, games as sort of an offensive mon. And I think LATIOS, with all the coverage it gets, I think it can come to pretty much every game. It's got Bolt Beam coverage, it's got Surf, it's got obviously its Dual Stab, new Aura Sphere and Mystical Fire. It's got Earthquake if it runs physical. I believe it has Energy Ball if it wants to hit like those water ground types like the Swamperts and Seismitoads of the world. But yeah, I think it's fantastic coverage, will let it come to all games and do great. So that is my round 1 LATIOS pick. And moving into round 2, I had a couple plans, and as it got really close to me, I got really, really hopeful that I would be able to get Zeraora, but it went a few picks before me. But I got another mon that I thought shouldn't have been there. I think it's a fantastic mon in draft. Use it in Showdown a little bit, but TAPU FINI I think is fantastic. Very, very bulky, 70 HP and then 115 defense, 130 SPDF. Means that it's not dying easily, although it doesn't have any reliable recovery. It got access to Training Kiss in the new DLC, which is fantastic for it. Also got access to Iron Defense for some pretty fun sets. Misty Terrain's pretty cool. It halves Dragon moves of LATIOS, which is a little bit annoying, but that mon has so much coverage, doesn't even really care that much. But prevents status, which is pretty cool. I think that FINI not being able to get Toxic, and the rest of my team also not being able to get Toxic, is pretty cool, at least while that Misty Terrain is up. It also enables some of my mons to run Misty Seed to potentially boost SPDF on more like, let's say a bulk up set. I think that Misty Seed to boost SPDF is quite good. And then with that 85 base speed, it's got an alright speed tier. Unfortunately, the leaks were incorrect, so it did not get flip turn to sort of keep momentum up, but it is what it is. I think that it can just run so many good sets very well. So I think that with its bulk, with its power, obviously 95 special attack, nothing crazy, but it still is pretty good, especially when you're clicking pretty strong moves like Moonblast, like Surf, because you don't really want to run Skulls with Misty Terrain. But then also, it functions as a great defogger, which is great, just being able to clear hazards. I know LATIOS also has defog, but it doesn't ever really want to run it when it can be doing so much more. Up next, we've got our Fairy, we've got our Dragon, and so let's round out that Fairy Dragon Steel core with a Mon that I thought should have gone maybe round 1. Some people really like round 2, but I've seen it criminally slipping too far, especially in Showdown leagues. But yeah, round 3 we pick up Excadrill. Excadrill is a fantastic Pokemon. Great attack stack of 135 and a great speed of 88. And in sand, it becomes really fast and really scary to deal with. Earthquake, Iron Head is pretty solid coverage, can help break through fairies for LATIOS, which is one of the main reasons why I got it. It's more of an offensive steel type, but it can still take hits reasonably well. It's got base 110 HP, which potentially lets it get off pretty strong substitutes in some matchups. If I want to run that, it's also got access to buffed rapid spin, which means it can raise its speed. It's also got Swords Dance. It's got, obviously, it's dual stab. It's got rock coverage. I believe it's got also X Scissor, but the coverage doesn't need to be that deep. When you're an Excadrill, you're already hitting pretty hard with even potentially resisted hits, but not a lot. Resists ground plus steel plus rock. So yeah, Excadrill is fantastic in my opinion. Should not have gone this late, so when I saw it, I had to pick it up. But if you look at my team, you see LATIOS tier 1, TAPU FINI tier 1, Excadrill also tier 1, which meant that we locked ourselves into a low tier GMAX, and even with that, still we had to pick up 3 tier 5s. But I think that it was a worthy price when LATIOS especially can come to every game, and then TAPU FINI and Excadrill can come to most games and perform. So yeah, this is the 3 that we bring, or the 3 that we have, and hopefully they can come to most matchups. I just see most teams look like the offensive duo of LATIOS and Excadrill with sort of TAPU FINI providing some defensive support seemed really nice. But yeah, we had to wait a little bit to get into our next pick, but then when it came back to me, I wanted this Mon. I figured if I didn't take it now, it was either going to last till the end of the draft or would have gone before my next pick, so I decided to take it now. And just looking at the other teams, they did want it, so I'm very thankful that I ended up taking CINDERACE. This is Blaze only CINDERACE, of course, where Libera would have been busted, probably a top 1, top 3 pick. Obviously, it's still got a great top end speed tier of 119 with 116 base attack, so it's quite strong. But in Wi-Fi, I've just seen it be so versatile with like heavy duty boots, spamming U-turn, spamming its pyro balls. Court Change is great. Super Fang is also a fantastic move, just being able to sort of break through really fat teams with like Taunt Super Fang is super duper helpful. It just does a ton with its various different sets. It's got great offensive coverage, Pyro Ball, high jump kick, U-turn obviously for momentum, Sucker Punch is a pretty good move, Gunk Shot to take down bulky fairies that aren't dropping to Pyro Ball. So yeah, I think CINDERACE really did a lot for my team, and I'm really happy to have it again. Even though our mascot has changed, we still do love CINDERACE over here. But yeah, I like the top end speed tier, so I didn't really have to worry about too much more. And I also like that strong physical attack stat when we already have LATIOS for special and Excadrill for physical. Just having more offense, it didn't really matter to me at this point. Up next, I decided, you know what, there's a Dracofish floating out there, and then Zolt is still undrafted. Maybe another coach potentially wanted to grab a miniature sand core, and with the tiers, I didn't want to lock myself into potentially ending up having to grab Baby Hippo as my sand setter when that thing wants to be running Eviolite most weeks, so it can't even run the Smooth Rock when I want it to be running Smooth Rock. So yeah, Up next, I decided to grab my GIGALITH here. Cash in on, in my opinion, the best sand setter for its value when you want a good sand setter. I think Tyranitar is a great Pokemon, and Hippowdon also is a great Pokemon, but I think GIGALITH is just the best for setting sand, which is why I grabbed it. Very, very bulky, base 85 HP, 130 defense, and then 80 Spadef, but boosted by sand. Means that it's really strong there. Reliable rocker, can just toxic things while terrain isn't up. And I'm saying it right now, I'm definitely going to end up toxicking something while terrain is up and not realizing it. But it's got pretty good bulk, rocks, toxic. It's got access to the new body press, which is not so new at this point. It's been out for almost a year, I think. Maybe even a little longer by the time you guys are seeing this. But yeah, it's just such a fantastic sand setter that I really think that getting it here was the smart play. And then really making sure that I think special offense moving forward was definitely going to be like my play, just looking at what I wanted. And GIGALITH obviously having that base 135 attack stat is phenomenal. Even if you don't invest into it, it's still hitting hard. It's got strong moves too to hit hard, so I'm not worried there. But yeah, up next, round 6, I decided that it's probably smart to start diving into my lower tiers, but first I wanted to secure the GMAX so that I knew what low tiers I wanted to get. And there was one GMAX to me that looked criminally underpriced, and maybe it just looked criminally underpriced to me because it's also one of my favorite mons to use in the draft format. I decided to grab Gigantamax TOXTRICITY. I think that it's fantastic. A lot of people sleep on the GMAX just because it powers down your max strike, but I believe the base power increase of overdrive to GMAX stun shock makes up for the boost from punk rock. I think it goes above base 104 power, I believe is what that hits. But then we are allowed to run any item on the Gigantamax, which means I can get pretty free throat spray boosts, pretty free max ooze boosts as well. Obviously Sludge Wave and max ooze are the same power, but I still think that being able to max ooze is pretty cool. Also, being able to power up Drain Punch into max Knuckle, Throat Chop into max Darkness, both pretty nice. Even gets some other random coverage. I think it gets Fire Punch, but I could be wrong there. But yeah, with the shift gear, it can do pretty solidly. And then obviously with that overdrive ability, it can hit really hard when it's not maxed, and take hits a little better when it is maxed. Still probably dying to most ground moves, but I think that it does fantastically as a mon in the draft format. I've heard of people taking it and not really liking it, but I'm going to show everyone why Gigantamax TOXTRICITY is truly fantastic. Let's just hope that I can prove to everyone. But yeah, I just really like this mon, and seeing it give me points, because it's tiered at tier 2, and being able to take it full and be given points is great. Because if you look at my team right now, it's basically 3 tier 1s, 2 tier 2s, which is more than anyone else can have. So I'm really grateful that I was able to pick it up like that. Up next, we decided to start diving into the low tiers. Grabbing your low tiers early it's iffy because you're obviously missing out on higher tier picks, but I thought that my higher tiers would last, which is why I was comfortable diving into the lower tiers early, because maybe they don't last. And I think that these mons, getting good low tiers is quite important, because prepping for an 11 mon roster where it feels like every mon can come is really important, when some other people can prep for 10 and then filler mon. But I think that the low tiers that I picked can all come to games. Starting off my first tier 5, we grabbed Audino, which was in my opinion by far the best tier 5 in the pool. It looked more like a tier 4. Looking at the other tiers and looking at what mons were where, but great Wish Passer, which is what my team really wants, with TAPU, FINI, CINDERACE potentially getting worn down, same with GIGALITH, even Gigantamax TOXTRICITY, even potentially EXCADRILL, all can get worn down. And then, especially in sand, a lot of these mons are very susceptible to sort of getting low, and Audino I feel like helps. It takes hits a lot better than you would expect it to, with obviously base 103 HP and then 86 in both defenses. It can kind of do a lot. Great status options. I think it has Yawn. It also has Thunder Wave. It also has Toxic. All things that I can't click with Misty Terrain up. But you gotta remember, once like Tapu Fini eventually switches out, it maybe only has like 2 or 1 turn left. That's like a Wish Protect and then status. So yeah. Also with Regenerator, it doesn't really even need to like Wish Protect. It can Wish and then it can switch out, pick up 33% of its health, and then heal up these other mons that are picking up even more percentage, because base 103 is just like higher than everything else, although Excadrill has obviously that quite good base 110 HP. It's not running much HP investment at all. So yeah, that is my first tier 5 pick, Audino. So at this point we have 2 tier 5 picks left, a tier 4 and a tier 3. So I just went ahead and decided, let's just get all the tier 5s done, and by that point I'll know for sure that I'll have my tier 4 and my tier 3. It already looked like no one was going to take the ones that I wanted, so I was happy about that. Up next, VULLABY. VULLABY, I wanted like one more reliable defogger, because someone told me Tapu Fini and Excadrill, while they're great defoggers, like if you want to run like some offensive Fini and Excadrill wants SD and rock coverage, you're not going to be able to fit removal unless you want to put it on LATIOS or put Court Change on CINDERACE. So I decided to just grab my VULLABY. Is somewhat bulky with the Eviolite, obviously 70 base HP, and then Eviolite boosted 75 and 65 is not bad. It has knockoff and U-turn for momentum as well as defog. It has roost to stay healthy itself, and slow momentum I think on this team could be potentially pretty cool. And being able to stay healthy and clear hazards is really all that it really needs to do. And it has Whirlwind, I believe, so it's not complete setup fodder. But yeah, that is my VULLABY pick. And as obviously we sort of get lower in the tiers, lower in the points, I'm probably going to talk for a little less about each mon. And round 9, Dusk Noir. I wanted a ghost type, and it was between this or Gorgeist, but I really wanted a different tier 4 that I think is slept on. So I decided to grab the Dusk Noir. Base 40 HP isn't great, but when the only recovery here is Pain Split or Rest, I think 40 HP is great. With the base 135 defenses, it can eat hits somewhat well. Base 100 attack isn't the strongest, but again, it like dishes out good damage, especially when you can afford to run Adamant most weeks, and with base 45 speed, yeah, you're not going to be running much speed investment. It's got alright coverage, but really it's just here to be a ghost type so that people think twice about bringing high jump kick or moves like that, or like only normal moves. I think that Dusk Noir is, yeah, just it's there to do that job for me. Up next, we got our tier 3 and our tier 4. Both of these, I think at this point, are pretty immune to being sniped. But on the off chance that someone wanted my REGICE pick, I just grabbed it first. Very, very slept on mon, in my opinion. With boots, it is fantastic. Just like Rest Hog Bolt Beam just puts in so much work. Like it really just lives a ton of hits. 200 base def is crazy. And then you can run like full Fizz def and still be tanking hits for days. Obviously, base 100 special attack means that you're dishing out non-zero damage as well, especially with Bolt Beam, which is fantastic coverage into most teams. And then, yeah, really that's all it needs to do. Audino to Wish Pass it is nice, and it can also just Rest Talk, which is, again, really, really helpful. And our final pick is VIRIZION. This is basically just here so that base 108 mons can't run Adamant, like having to deal with like an Adamant Terrakion or a Modest Keldeo, or even like a Modest Galvantula would potentially be annoying because, yeah, so I believe that no really, really crazy impactful mons gets to run attack boosting natures, maybe other than Mon. I think Garchomp might be able to afford it, or people aggressively creeping an Adamant Excadrill. Both of those I think are plausible, but yeah. Bulky enough with 91 HP, 72 defense, and 129 SPDF. 90 in both attack stats with setup on either side in Calm Mind or Swords Dance, and then good coverage on both sides. It can do really what it's needed to do. yeah, I really like VIRIZION. I'm a supporter of it. I know a lot of people don't like it because it seems so weak, but then once it gets set up, people really remember, yeah, this mod's good. So yeah, that is my VIRIZION pick. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about this team in the comments down below. And make sure to subscribe and check out all our future battles if you want to see how I do with this team. And with all that being said, until next time, Jesse504 out. Peace.